member of the dock family, and it's quite tasty. In fact, I may harvest some of this on the way back. Well, not been here for a couple of weeks. Been away up into the Lake District, which is for us up in the north of England, a little place called Cumbria. If you Google Clafe Heights or Three Dubs Tarn, particularly on Google Earth, you will see where I camped out. It's with a company called Woodsmoke, and more of that later. The woods have blossomed, so to speak. Hazel in leaf, hawthorn, beech, oak, ash, holly. Well, holly's evergreen, so it's always in leaf. It's absolutely stunning. Lovely green and verdant. I'm on the lookout for one or two little wild edibles. May forage them, may not. I'm in the hope that I might find some chicken in the woods. But some more of that later. I'll just spin the camera around. There we go. Of course, I mustn't forget my constant companion on these little jaunts into the woods. Friendly little Alfie. He's marking his territory. Alfie! There we go. There's a good boy. Wild arum, or lords and ladies, or cuckoo pint. Very toxic. It possibly won't kill you, but it'll make your tongue swell up due to all the little oxalic spears that are within the leaf. Very pretty in the autumn with the leaves. It's called lords and ladies. If I come down here and sort of move in, whoa, up there, up. Ah, well, got it. You can see the little black dots upon the leaf, which is concurrent with mature leaves, and reminds one of the ermine and the little black spots upon it. There we go, lords and ladies. Very pretty plant, but toxic. One of my favourite of all wild edibles, particularly in the spring when it's most prevalent, and that is wild garlic. A lovely plant. A nice addition to any wild salad actually, or stuff like pesto, garlic butter, or even used in a hangy, as we did in a week or so back, which I will explain later. And of course, the one thing so prevalent of southern British woodland particularly is bluebells. These haven't quite come out yet. First thing in the morning, the perfume is rather nice, very delicate. Member of the hyacinth family, non-edible, but the bulbs, if you don't swallow them, can be chewed or mashed up to make a type of adhesive. not. Saw, froe, donk. All you need to make your firewood. I'm back in the woods again. Well, my local woods. I was up in a Lake District the other weekend. Got plenty of photographs of that. And I keep meaning to do a slideshow, but I've been back at work and what we just get settled back into being in the real world. You know how it is. So I'm busy sorting them out. Maybe chuck a few pictures on the end of this video presentation. Just now you saw me using my new froe. When I was up in the Lake District, my old froe finally died. Where it connects to the hearth, it had been welded a few times. It was Avalon's dad's favourite froe, and it become my favourite froe. I primarily use it for cleaving wood to make firewood, but in the hands of a skilled woodsman you could actually make shingles with it, spelks, paling for chestnut paling going down the whole length of the piece of chestnut, or the piece of chestnut's been cut to length. Normally it's about that round and you quarter it. Very useful to my mind. In many ways for firewood making it is more useful than the axe, and safer. You're less liable to miss and hit your foot with it, but that's my own personal preference. Also it can confuse people if you take one of them out of the bag. You think, what the hell is that? So it's just a quick piece on making firewood. I shall store that in the crook of the tree for when I come up here next time and have a real fire. It'll dry out a bit then. Well, the weekend. What did I do at that weekend? Lake District. For those of my friends who are watching this that live abroad, that live in the US, Canada, Germany and what have you, Google it. It's in the northwest part of England, just below Scotland, the Lake District, and it's a very, very beautiful place. You get a lot of tourists up there from now until late September. A phenomenal amount of Japanese that photograph anything that moves or stands still, from timetables to hills. It's really bizarre. I see that when I got up there they were photographing the railway timetables and the railway posters. We got up there and we made camp. It was forecast torrential rain. We had a light shower. The torrential rain got as far as Cockermouth and that was it. It just sort of petered out a bit. What else did we do there? The first night was the icebreaker, and we sort of met people. I met old friends. I'll a bit more on that in a minute. Had a few brews, and though I didn't have to go on a tour around the camp, the people that had never been there before get a tour around the area to show where the latrines are, points of interest, where the tarn is, which you can't miss it, it's just a big lake. And then we get to set up our tarps, our tents and our bivvies wherever we wish. I always try and keep in sight of the parachute, which is the main meeting area. So, Saturday morning I woke up, as was my wont, about 5 o'clock, and I took my Trangia triangle so I could have a quick brew when I fell out the hammock. I had that, got ready, went up to the parachute, got the fire going with one of Ben's slaves called Barney, and between sort of like 5:15 and 6 o'clock-ish, when I actually went to the parachute to get the fire going, I had a bit of a fish, took my spinning gear up with me, didn't catch anything, but it was pleasant, very pleasant. The mist on top of the heights was wonderful to see. It slowly burnt off, and then I went up and I had my breakfast. At first I normally take up something with me because they have a breakfast box which has got cereal, milk and porridging, but I just fancied something a little different, so I took up some chorizo sausages and had that with a piece of bread. And slowly everybody got round and gathered round. For the first 5 hours or so, the off was at 9 o'clock, and for the first 5 hours or so it was the walk, the foraging walk, the wild plant walk, in which we obviously explored wild plants, the way deer sort of control the wild plants and how they sometimes help. By keeping the blueberries closely cropped, they actually increase the yield of blueberries through the year. And because spring is about 2 weeks behind up there compared to down here, we had the chance to taste the very young shoots of blackberry. Now bizarrely, the thorns do not prickle out, and really, really soft, and it's the very, very tiny shoots that are about that big, and they taste of coconut. Very pleasant, very nice. We collected a billy canful because bizarrely you can make them into a tea and the taste is of blackberry with a hint of coconut, so go figure. And we had a good walk around. It was great. I've discovered some new edibles, wood avens, various pines, noble pines, which you've got a couple up there, spruce, larch, and Scots pine. All got slightly different tastes. In fact, I think it was the spruce has got a slightly pineapple-y taste when done as a brew. Add pig nuts again, lots of pig nuts up there. If you know what you're looking for, really tasty. Unfortunately, if you're acting on the right side of the law, you have to obtain permission from the landowners to dig them up, because in the UK you're not allowed to dig rooted wilds up unless it's on your own land or you get permission off the landowner. But regardless, I tried some of that. I love pig nuts. They've got a lovely chestnutty, radishy taste. And then of course we tried the wood avens, which is it's called Herb Robert, and it's got a bit of a spicy taste, used at one time to flavour beer. There were celandines, we had young hawthorn, which is nice. You can use that to make a tea, it's very good for the blood. And then we went down and we found wild garlic. We picked a lot of that because we needed that for the hanging. And went from the wild garlic So pennywort, which is about that round, grows in rocks or in rocky walls, mostly in the west of England. You won't find much around the southeast. Very succulent. Another little wild succulent, very small, is called sedum, and that was very, very nice. Slightly peppery taste and very succulent. What else did we have? We pointed out a few more of the toxic ones, which you saw earlier, which are things like wild arum, which is quite toxic. Celandines can be toxic if you're not careful, if you overindulge. We had some sheep sorrel, which was very nice, and we come across very young watercress. Watercress is one of them plants. You have to be careful where it grows. It's a lovely taste, but if there's a lot of sheep, it's advisable to steam it or to cook it slightly, because it can contain liverworm or liver flukes, which don't do your liver a lot of good. Well, yeah, and that was about it for the wild food. We walked plenty of miles, and of course we harvested a lot. We harvested obviously the various pine trees, you know, the larches, the firs and the pines. Also the wild garlic, which we've had a lot of. Dandelion heads, which we had deep fried. They were very nice, done in a tempera batter. So we got back to camp, and the object of the spring forager is mostly focused on aquatic food, seafood, which was picked up fresh from Whitehaven. We had lobsters, crabs, langoustines, really nice sea bass and lots of mackerel and a few plaice. And on the Sunday we had trout. Well, the lobsters were live. We built up a long fire, and it was enough to have a lobster each. So we were shown how to dispatch the lobster. Then we popped it on the fire, which is a bit freaky because they're like chickens. Though they're dead, they keep wiggling about. And we barbecued those basically. The langoustines we done in crayfish style. We stuck them on bamboo skewers, and we stuck the skewers in the ground with the tails. The tails curl that way, so the tails are facing the fire like that. So as they curl round, when they've curled right up, it shows they're cooked. We had those. We made garlic butter with obviously the wild garlic. Now we had seaweed as well, imported all the way from Donegal in Ireland. We had dabelox, we had carrageen, and most important we had some kelps there, big kelps, because we needed those because we were making a hanging. For those that are not in the know, a hanging is a pit oven basically. You dig a hole about 18 inches deep, put some wood above it, which is split about that round and split in half. You make a platform. You lay your fire on that. A lot of kindling, raging fire, a layer of kindling, layer of rocks, layer of kindling, layer of rocks. So you've got like a layer cake, heating the rocks up, and as it burns down, it burns through the wood into the pit the rocks go. When it's ready, after about a good 45-minute burn, an hour burn maybe, you turf the rocks out. Now in the preceding time you've filleted the fish, wrapped them in seaweed. Before we wrap them, we season them with a slice of lemon and some various herbs that we've picked, and we drop them into the fire, onto the load. Then we cover the fire. Well, actually, first of all, we put a layer of garlic, wild garlic down, and put the fishy parcels on top of that, a few onions in. Then we put some more leaves on top. Then we put a slab of slate on top of that, and then seal it so there's no steam coming out. And we leave it for about an hour. It's great because it's not going to burn. because you're working on a falling temperature, and about an hour is enough for seafood. So we went back to finish our lobsters up and make a chowder, which we had, very tasty that was too. That was a nettle chowder. We picked lots of nettles as well, and we had 2 days of nettle soup. We had nettle chowder for the day, for the first day, and everything was hunky-dory. What a beautiful, basically we spent the whole afternoon and evening just nibbling and eating. Went to bed well satisfied. Lobsters, sea bass, onions, beautiful. Next day we had the ubiquitous and the ever-present BBC breakfast, which is bacon, bannock and coffee. And we had a few leftovers from the night before, if we fancied it. Excuse me. Right. On this day, it was mostly just a grazing morning. Ben showed us how to make bannock. I already knew, so did a few of others, so we carried on doing something else. We made the bannock. I made my bannock. I made quite a mixed bannock. I've got some spicy sausage, spicy salami, a bit of Parmesan cheese, sun-dried tomatoes, chopped hazelnuts and raisins. Mixed it into my bannock and stood it in front of the fire in a pan. Some people bake them in the what I call a cook set oven. It's basically a cook set where you've got one pot inside the other, and you use 3 pebbles to lift it off. So you've basically got a sort of oven. And we did that. It was nice. It was wonderful. That was cooking. The bacon was cooking on long sticks over the fire. We made long hazel skewers, about that long. And come about midday, Fee, one of the apprentice instructors for wood smoke, she demonstrated how to panasse trout, and everybody had a go at doing that, filleting the trout, pinning it out, putting it between the two, between the split and the hazel one, and hanging it over the fire. And it's very nice cooked that way. It's brilliant. Get the right sort of fire. It is absolutely brilliant. And we had a little bit with bannock if we chose, plenty of tea, coffee. In fact, it's the only time I can drink coffee really when it's brewed that way. We did cowboy coffee. Basically, billy can, fill it up with water, get a billy can about that big, fill it up from the, so it's about that much from the top with water, sprinkle ground coffee over the top until a mouse can run in it, and then you put it over the fire till it boils. Pull it off when it comes up to the boil, bang the sides to settle the ground, stand it by the fire and help yourselves. It is wonderful. I don't tend to go for the extra strong, it's going to keep me awake all night coffee, but he had a sort of grade too, which was nice. It was acceptable, and a little bit of sugar in the pot. I forgot my maple syrup, which I like with the coffee. And a fantastic weekend. I'm just looking forward to the axe workshop now. It was great. So there we are, guys. That was a basic outline of the weekend, and it was a great time as had by all. I had, as I mentioned, I've tasted new wild edibles. I've got more confidence with picking out stuff that I can eat. The only thing we didn't eat were fiddleheads. The bracken in this country is highly carcinogenic, and it is advisable, and Ben wouldn't let us eat any anyway. Let us eat any fiddleheads because of that. But then I'll wait until the autumn, until it dies back and dries off, then it makes a great tinder. But as I say, it's a great weekend. It only rained very slightly on the Friday night, as I said. The rest of the weekend was beautiful. And I'm looking forward to the next trip up there, which is the axe workshop. I'll be helving a new axe and January having a good time. So guys, that's all for now, I suppose, on the update front. No, it isn't. A few things. There's Lisa Fenton, who's the co-owner of Woodsmoke is doing a PhD in ethnobiology. If you look around Facebook or even look on the Woodsmoke site, she's got a questionnaire for all you bushcrafters to fill out as part of her PhD thesis. And I filled mine out and I hope she gets it. And on that respect, I'm doing a new Facebook page, and this is going to deal with I muted this a few weeks back, long before I went on this trip, and it's all to do with wild food, not necessarily greens. It's going to cover a whole lot of wild food, from the humble wild garlic right through to deer and other animals. When I open a wild food book, too much emphasis is made on the wild greens and on the seaweeds. Very little seems to go on rabbit and what have you, and it's nice to sort of bring it all together. Basically, it will be cooking methods and collecting and dealing with the 4Fs. It's open to anyone around the world because it would be nice to have input from other countries. Hopefully I'm going to get Fergus Drennan on board on this one. He showed some interest. Now he's the wild food god round here. I mean, if he hasn't ate it, it's not worth eating, basically. Anyway guys, I'm going to sit back, kick back, have another cup of tea and maybe come back in a minute with a poem. Well guys, I've had a bit of a doze. And even had old Alfie here, you can't see, but he's sitting there. He sat in the hammock with me. Tried a new fire lighting method. Well, it's just something I picked up along the way and had a little fire going. Got myself a nice rod to repair a couple of, or re-half a couple of, oh crikey, I can't think of that, froes. Someone had built a camp over there, you just may have seen in the previous video from last year about they chopped down some trees to make a camp, which I really got annoyed about. Well, as promised, a poem by W.B. Yeats. It's one of my favourite poems, and it's the Lake Isle of Innisfree. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, and a hive for the honeybee, live alone in the bee-low glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping snow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and an evening full of linnets' wings. I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear the lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. And while I stand on the roadway, or on the pavements grey, I hear it in a deep heart's core. Right, my fire is still going. I'm going to douse that out now. In fact, I'm quite pleased with that. And it's a method of using the knife and the fire flesh, which I think is far more efficient than the one I learned at Woodlaw. It's great. It basically focuses a shower of sparks. Mint tea, yum. Well guys, enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week, because I am. I've got some projects to get on with and some wanderings to do, and I fancy getting home because I need a cheese sandwich. Bye, and welcome to all the new subscribers.